Hi, I'm Ryan Holger with TEC Tube, and we're back with another edition in our series on infinity, evolution, and ion controls. Today's focus is going to be on wireless sensors. Now, the manufacturer doesn't make their own wireless sensor, but it is compatible with some third-party ones. We use ones from BAPI, and we use ones from Honeywell. Today, we're going to focus on the Honeywell sensors. These are the commercial version of their wireless sensor. If you're a customer of TEC, let us know. We'll help you get them. We're going to focus on setting those guys up today. We'll talk about how to wire up the receiver module, and we'll talk about how to pair the sensors as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So there's two pieces involved in this. There's a receiver, and then there's the wireless sensor that you can put on a wall or a bookshelf or whatever you want. You can either buy these individually or you can buy them as a kit. We happen to buy them as a kit. Now you can buy the Honeywell branded ones, like this guy has with a Honeywell logo on it, or in our case, since we're going to put this on a Bryant system today, we bought an unbranded one where it's just a blank spot there. Either way, it would work the same. But you can buy them as a kit, and when you buy them as a kit, they're pre-paired, meaning they both have the same communication address. You're still gonna wanna double check the address, just to be sure. And if you had more than one of these in the same building or the same house, they'd have to have unique addresses. So if this guy's, let's just make up a number. If he's address 2, he has to be address 2. And then another pair of them over here could be 3 and 3, another one could be 100 and 100, whatever, but they have to match. The way you address these, if we take a look at them close up here, on the back of these sensors, there are 2 sets of dip switch blocks on here. And then on the receiver itself, there's 3 sets of dip switch blocks. We're gonna ignore the first one for a moment here and look at these other 2 where it says device ID. Those 2 blocks. These 2 blocks on this guy and these 2 blocks on this guy need to match each other. That's how they know they belong together and they're paired up. And there's a lot of dip switches on here because you can have dozens and dozens and dozens of these in the same vicinity as each other. We're just gonna be using one today. So as long as these guys match that guy, we're good on the addressing. The other switch block on here is to tell this receiver what kind of controller it's going to be working with. In our case, it's gonna be working with a Bryant zoning panel, but it could be working with a Honeywell Spider commercial automation system. It could be all kinds of different things. So if we take a look over here at the manual, we blow that up right here, we'll see the dip switch choices, and we're gonna pick this one right here that's highlighted for 10K. And we're gonna take those dip switches and we're gonna set these guys to match up on there. So now we got the right address and the right output on this guy. So let's go ahead and get this wired up. So I wired all this up here. What I basically did is I took the regular sensor off the wall, the regular 2-wire 10K thermistor off the wall, got rid of him. And in his place, I wired up this receiver. So the zoning board thinks he has a regular 10K sensor on him, but he doesn't. He has a wireless sensor that's gonna talk to this receiver that's gonna mount right next to the zoning board and be wired in. So from a wiring standpoint, if you can zoom in here, we'll look at what we have. There's a lot of terminals on here, and if you look at the wiring diagram for this product, it's a little confusing because it does a lot of stuff that we don't need in this application. So from a wiring standpoint, we're using 3 of the terminals with 4 wires on them. The first one here, terminal number 8, is for temperature, and then down here where it says common, this green wire, that's my other side of the temperature. So green and blue in my case are gonna be my thermistor wires. Those guys are, in this case, going over here to sensor number 2. That's the sensor I just took off the wall. They're wiring into those 2 terminals on the zone board for sensor number 2. I could have picked any one of these, 1, 2, 3, 4 in this case, or I could also wire it directly to an infinity evolution ion controller. Those guys have an S1 and S2 terminal that accepts a 10K input as well. So if I didn't even have zoning, I could still hide this in a closet and wire up one of these wireless sensors to it if I wanted to. Just keep in mind, wherever these sensors go, they're gonna be measuring temperature only, not humidity. Humidity reading always stays with this guy. So when you hide this guy, don't hide him in a crawl space, don't hide him in a master bathroom, somewhere where it's gonna be humid, a laundry room, don't put it in those places. Stick it like in a closet or something like that. Right, because the humidity is always going to be there, and he'll ignore his temperature sensor and replace it with this guy's temperature. But in our case, we have it on a zoning panel, so he's where zone sensor number 2 happens to be. Now, on here it was temp and common. Over here, it doesn't matter, because 10K thermistors and all thermistors are not polarity sensitive. Make the 2 wires be whatever you want. You can flip them back and forth. It doesn't matter whatsoever. The other 2 wires, if we take a look at down here, I have them on common and 24 volt, white and red in this case. I just need to get this guy 24 volt power from somewhere. In the case of my communicating system, C and D terminals are 24 volt power. So my white and red are on C and D up here, and they're going down to common and 24 on this guy over here. And that'll get us all wired up. So we did the dip switches, all 3 blocks. We did all the wiring. Now let's go take a look and see if our stats got the right reading. All right, now you can see this guy is reading 76 degrees. What I'm gonna do right now while we're talking is I'm gonna stick him in my pocket so it'll be a little bit warmer so we can see that guy ramp up. There is a little bit of a delay, so it's not gonna be instantaneous. For one, my pocket's gotta warm up the plastic's gotta warm up the sensor, and then it's gotta start communicating. So it'll be a little bit slower. While we're doing that, I wanna talk about a little bit basic troubleshooting here. If for some reason it's not reading anything, or it's reading something totally wonky like 100 degrees or like 0 degrees or something crazy, like you know it's not that temperature, what you can do is you can use your voltmeter, use your multimeter to test this. We're gonna set him for ohms in this case. This is a 10K thermistor, just like this guy was a 10K thermistor. And I can measure the output of these guys to see what they are. If I'm going to do that, I need to take the wires off of the terminal to measure that. Now I'm gonna leave this one wired up for right now, because I want you to see my pocket warm that guy up eventually. And instead I'm gonna pull this regular thermistor off and show you how to measure that. So I'm gonna pull him off real quick. Right? I could have done the same with this receiver if I wanted to. I'm on resistance. It doesn't matter which one I put where, I just gotta put one lead on each one and hold my hand steady without shaking. Right, and I'm reading 10.46 ohms of resistance. 10K ohm sensor means 10,000 ohms at 77 degrees. And if the temperature goes up, it'll read less ohms. If the temperature goes down, it'll read more. So I could take that, look at the chart to compare it to see what my actual temperature is. But in this case, I already know that's in the normal realm of stuff, so I'm in good shape there. But if it wasn't reading, or if it was reading crazy high or crazy low, you can use that to test it out. The sensor's only gone up 1 degree in my pocket so far. Sometimes it takes a little minute here. But you guys might see that go up still while it's in my hands. I'll try to make it even warmer on that wireless sensor. Thanks for joining us. If you have any further questions on it and you're a TEC customer, call us. If you're not a customer, then just watch all the rest of our videos and figure everything out. Thanks for joining us.